From Fear to Fuel. Harnessing Anxiety for Extraordinary Power. Chapter 1. The Fear Factor, Decoding the Human Response. The heart races, palms sweat, and a knot tightens in the stomach. These are the familiar physical manifestations of fear, a primal emotion that has shaped human existence since our earliest ancestors. In From Fear to Fuel, we embark on a journey to understand this powerful force, not as an enemy to be vanquished, but as a potential ally to be harnessed. The biological roots of fear. Fear is deeply rooted in our biology, a survival mechanism honed over millennia. At its core, it's a sophisticated alarm system designed to protect us from perceived threats. When faced with danger, the amygdala, a small almond-shaped structure in the brain, triggers the fight-or-flight response. Adrenaline surges, heart rate accelerates, and blood flow is diverted to muscles, preparing the body for immediate action. This physiological response, while crucial for survival in the wild, can become problematic in modern life when triggered by non-life-threatening situations. The psychological landscape of fear. Beyond the biological, fear also resides in the realm of psychology. It's shaped by our experiences, beliefs, and interpretations of the world. We develop learned fears, often based on past traumas or negative associations. For instance, a childhood encounter with a barking dog might lead to a lifelong fear of canines. Similarly, societal norms and cultural influences can instill fears related to failure, rejection, or social judgment. Healthy fear versus debilitating anxiety. It's crucial to distinguish between healthy fear and debilitating anxiety. Healthy fear serves a protective function, alerting us to genuine dangers and prompting us to take necessary precautions. It's the instinct that keeps us from walking off a cliff or touching a hot stove. Debilitating anxiety, on the other hand, is an exaggerated or irrational fear response that interferes with daily life. It's the constant worry, the persistent dread, and the overwhelming sense of unease that can paralyze us and prevent us from pursuing our goals. Unlike healthy fear, which is triggered by a specific threat, anxiety can be diffuse and pervasive, lingering even in the absence of real danger. The evolutionary purpose of fear. From an evolutionary perspective, fear has played a vital role in our survival. It compelled our ancestors to avoid predators, seek shelter, and form social bonds for protection. The ability to anticipate and respond to threats was essential for the propagation of the species. However, the modern world presents a different set of challenges. While physical threats have diminished, psychological and social anxieties have proliferated. We face fears related to financial security, career success, and social acceptance. Yet, the underlying mechanisms of fear remain the same. A new perspective. In From Fear to Fuel, we propose a paradigm shift. Rather than viewing fear as an obstacle, we explore its potential as a catalyst for growth and transformation. By understanding the anatomy of fear, we can learn to harness its energy and redirect it towards positive outcomes. We will delve into the intricacies of fear, examining its biological and psychological underpinnings, and explore how to distinguish between healthy fear and debilitating anxiety. We will also explore the evolutionary purpose of fear and how it has shaped our behavior. This chapter sets the stage for a deeper exploration of fear, laying the foundation for the tools and techniques that will empower you to transform anxiety into extraordinary power. By understanding the fear factor, we can begin to unlock the hidden potential within ourselves and embark on a journey of courage, resilience, and personal transformation. Chapter 2. Identifying your shadow, pinpointing your core fears. In the previous chapter, we explored the nature of fear, understanding its biological and psychological roots. Now, it's time to turn our attention inward and confront the specific fears that hold us back. This chapter is about identifying your shadow, those hidden anxieties that often operate beneath the surface, influencing our thoughts, decisions, and behaviors. The importance of self-reflection. The first step in transforming fear is to acknowledge its presence. Many of us try to suppress or ignore our fears, hoping they will simply disappear. However, buried fears only grow stronger, manifesting in subtle ways that sabotage our well-being. True strength lies in facing our fears head-on. Self-reflection is the key to uncovering these hidden anxieties. It involves taking the time to honestly examine your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Consider the following questions. What situations make you feel anxious or uneasy? What thoughts run through your mind when you feel afraid? What are you most afraid of losing? What regrets do you have, and what fears are associated with them? What are the things that you avoid doing? Techniques for fear identification. Journaling, regularly writing down your thoughts and feelings can help you identify recurring patterns and triggers. Mind mapping, visually representing your fears and their connections, can provide a clearer understanding of their scope. The 5 whys technique. When you identify a fear, ask why 5 times to dig deeper into its root cause. Fear inventory. Create a list of all your fears, no matter how big or small. Rank them by intensity and frequency. Recognizing common fear archetypes. While everyone's fears are unique, certain archetypes tend to emerge. Fear of failure, the anxiety of not meeting expectations, whether our own or those of others. Fear of rejection, the dread of being disapproved of or excluded by others. Fear of the unknown, the discomfort of facing uncertainty and change. Fear of inadequacy, the sense of lacking the necessary skills or abilities. Fear of loss, the apprehension of losing something valuable, whether it's a relationship, a job, or a sense of security. Fear of judgment, the anxiety about how other people will perceive you. Understanding these common archetypes can help you identify your own core fears more easily. The importance of acknowledging and owning your fears. Once you have identified your fears, it's essential to acknowledge and own them. This means accepting that they exist and that they have an impact on your life. Avoid judging yourself for having these fears. They are a natural part of being human. Owning your fears is about taking responsibility for them. It's about recognizing that you have the power to change how you respond to them. By acknowledging your fears, you can begin to loosen their grip and regain control. Moving forward. Identifying your shadow is not always easy. It requires courage and honesty. But the rewards are immense. By shining a light on your hidden anxieties, you can begin to transform them from obstacles into opportunities for growth. In the next chapter, we will explore how fear manipulates our thinking and how to challenge its negative narratives. Chapter 3. The Lies Fear Tells, Dissecting Negative Thought Patterns. Now that we've identified our core fears, it's time to examine how fear manipulates our thinking. Fear doesn't just trigger physical responses, it also weaves intricate narratives in our minds, often distorting reality and keeping us trapped in cycles of anxiety. This chapter will explore the lies that fear tells us and equip you with the tools to challenge and reframe these negative thought patterns. Cognitive distortions, the fear-fueled mind. Fear thrives on cognitive distortions, irrational thought patterns that amplify anxiety and create a skewed perception of reality. Some common cognitive distortions include catastrophizing, imagining the worst possible outcome even when it's highly improbable. All-or-nothing thinking, viewing situations in extreme terms with no middle ground. Overgeneralization, drawing broad conclusions based on a single event. Mental filtering, focusing solely on negative aspects while ignoring positive ones. Personalization, taking things personally, even when they have nothing to do with you. Mind reading, assuming you know what others are thinking, especially if it's negative. Emotional reasoning, believing that your feelings reflect reality. I feel anxious, therefore I must be in danger. Should statements, holding rigid expectations for yourself and others. I should be perfect. These distortions create a distorted lens through which we view the world, reinforcing fear and limiting our potential. Challenging fear-based narratives. To break free from these negative thought patterns, we need to challenge the lies that fear tells us. Here are some techniques. Identify the distortion, become aware of the specific cognitive distortion you're experiencing. Gather evidence, ask yourself, what evidence supports this thought, and what evidence contradicts it? Consider alternative explanations, explore other possible interpretations of the situation. Reframe the thought, replace the negative thought with a more balanced and realistic one. The worst-case scenario technique. If you're catastrophizing, ask yourself, what's the absolute worst thing that could happen? Then, develop a plan for how you would cope with it. Often, the worst-case scenario is not as dire as we imagine. The best-case scenario technique. Balance the worst-case scenario by thinking of what the best-case scenario would be. The most likely scenario technique. After considering the best and worst cases, what is the most likely outcome? Breaking the cycle of negative self-talk. Fear often fuels a stream of negative self-talk, undermining our confidence and reinforcing anxiety. To break this cycle, we need to become aware of your self-talk, pay attention to the internal dialogue that runs through your mind. Challenge negative statements, question the validity of negative self-talk. Replace negative statements with positive affirmations, develop empowering statements that counteract negative thoughts. Practice self-compassion, treat yourself with kindness and understanding, especially when you're struggling. The power of perspective. Ultimately, overcoming fear is about shifting our perspective. By recognizing the lies that fear tells us and challenging our negative thought patterns, we can regain control of our minds and create a more positive and empowering reality. This chapter provides the tools to start that process, and in the next chapters, we will learn how to use these tools to create lasting change. Chapter 4. Mindful Confrontation, Facing Fear with Awareness. We've explored the nature of fear and the cognitive distortions it creates. Now, it's time to develop practical tools for confronting fear directly. This chapter focuses on mindful confrontation, a process that involves facing fear with awareness, acceptance, and a sense of calm. Mindfulness and meditation practices for managing anxiety. Mindfulness, the practice of paying attention to the present moment without judgment, is a powerful antidote to anxiety. By cultivating mindfulness, we can learn to observe our thoughts and feelings without getting swept away by them. Mindful breathing, a simple yet effective technique for grounding yourself in the present moment. Focus your attention on the sensation of your breath as it enters and leaves your body. Body scan meditation, systematically bringing awareness to different parts of your body, Noticing any sensations without judgment. Walking meditation, paying attention to the sensations of walking, such as the feeling of your feet on the ground and the movement of your body. Mindful observation of thoughts and emotions, observing your thoughts and feelings as they arise, without trying to change them. Simply acknowledge them and let them pass. Regular mindfulness practice can help you develop a greater sense of emotional regulation and reduce the intensity of anxiety. Developing emotional regulation skills. Emotional regulation is the ability to manage and respond to your emotions in a healthy way. This involves recognizing your emotions, becoming aware of your emotional states as they arise. Understanding the triggers, identifying the situations, thoughts, or feelings that trigger your anxiety. Choosing healthy coping strategies, replacing maladaptive coping mechanisms, e.g., avoidance, substance abuse, with healthy ones, e.g., exercise, journaling, talking to a friend. Practicing self-soothing techniques, engaging in activities that promote relaxation and calm, such as listening to music, taking a warm bath, or spending time in nature. Creating a fear inventory and gradual exposure. Gradual exposure is a technique for systematically confronting your fears in a controlled and manageable way. Create a fear inventory. List your fears from least to most anxiety-provoking. Rate each fear on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the least anxiety-provoking, 10 being the most. Gradual exposure. Start with the least anxiety-provoking fear on your list. Expose yourself to the fear in small, manageable increments. Stay with the exposure until your anxiety decreases. Gradually increase the intensity or duration of the exposure. Move up your fear inventory as you become more comfortable with each step. For example, if you have a fear of public speaking, you might start by practicing in front of a mirror, then speaking to a friend, then to a small group, and eventually to a larger audience. The power of presence. Mindful confrontation is about facing your fears with presence and awareness. It's about learning to be with your anxiety rather than trying to escape from it. By cultivating mindfulness and practicing gradual exposure, you can develop the courage and resilience to overcome your fears and live a more fulfilling life. Chapter 5. The Power of Reframing, Shifting Your Perspective. In the previous chapter, we explored mindful confrontation, learning to face fear with awareness. Now, we'll delve into the art of reframing, a powerful technique for transforming how we perceive and respond to fear. Reframing involves changing our perspective on a situation, finding the hidden opportunities within fear, and ultimately, transforming anxiety into a source of motivation. Techniques for cognitive restructuring. Cognitive restructuring is the process of identifying and changing negative or unhelpful thought patterns. Reframing is a key component of this process. Here are some effective techniques. Challenging assumptions. Question the validity of your assumptions. Ask yourself, is this assumption based on facts or feelings? Consider alternative interpretations. Finding the silver lining. Look for the positive aspects of a challenging situation. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? Focus on the potential for growth and development. The double arrow technique. Trace the chain of negative thoughts to uncover their underlying beliefs. Ask yourself, if this thought is true, what does it mean to me? Continue asking until you reach the core belief. Creating a balanced perspective. Acknowledge both the positive and negative aspects of a situation. Avoid all-or-nothing thinking. Strive for a more realistic and balanced view. Replacing negative labels. Replace negative labels, e.g., I'm a failure, with more accurate and compassionate ones, e.g., I made a mistake. Use language that empowers you. Finding the hidden opportunities within fear. Fear often points us towards areas where we need to grow. By reframing fear, we can uncover hidden opportunities for personal development. Fear as a signal for growth. Recognize that fear can indicate a desire for change or a need to step outside your comfort zone. View fear as a challenge to overcome rather than an obstacle to avoid. Fear as a source of creativity. Use fear as a catalyst for creative problem solving. Explore new ways of thinking and approaching challenges. Fear as a motivator for action. Channel the energy of fear into productive action. Use fear as a driving force to achieve your goals. Transforming fear into a source of motivation. By reframing fear, we can transform it from a paralyzing force into a powerful source of motivation. Setting fear-based goals. Identify goals that align with your fears. Use the fear of inaction as motivation to pursue those goals. Visualizing success. Visualize yourself overcoming your fears and achieving your goals. Create a mental image of success that inspires and motivates you. Embracing the challenge. View fear as a challenge to be embraced rather than a threat to be avoided. Develop a growth mindset and believe in your ability to overcome challenges. Reframing is a skill that requires practice and patience. By consistently challenging negative thought patterns and finding the hidden opportunities within fear, you can transform anxiety into a powerful source of motivation and live a more fulfilling life. Chapter 6. Building Resilience, Cultivating Inner Strength. We've explored understanding fear, confronting it mindfully, and reframing our perspectives. Now, we'll focus on building resilience, the bedrock of our ability to navigate challenges and bounce back from adversity. Resilience isn't about avoiding fear, it's about developing the inner strength to face it, learn from it, and emerge stronger. Developing coping mechanisms for stress and adversity. Resilience is strengthened through effective coping mechanisms. Here are some key strategies. Problem-solving skills. Break down problems into smaller, manageable steps. Identify potential solutions and evaluate their pros and cons. Take action and learn from the outcomes. Stress management techniques. Engage in regular physical activity. Practice relaxation techniques such as deep breathing or yoga. Prioritize sleep and healthy eating habits. Set boundaries and manage your time effectively. Emotional regulation. Identify and express your emotions in a healthy way. Practice self-soothing techniques when feeling overwhelmed. Develop emotional intelligence and empathy. Cognitive flexibility. Challenge negative thought patterns and adopt a growth mindset. Be open to new perspectives and adapt to changing circumstances. Learn to tolerate uncertainty and ambiguity. Building a supportive network. Resilience isn't built in isolation. A strong support system is essential for navigating challenges and fostering a sense of belonging. Cultivating healthy relationships. Surround yourself with positive and supportive people. Communicate openly and honestly with your loved ones. Seek out mentors and role models. Seeking professional support. Don't hesitate to seek help from a therapist or counselor. Join support groups or online communities. Utilize available resources such as hotlines or crisis lines. Developing social skills. Practice active listening. Learn to express your needs clearly. Build empathy and compassion. The importance of self-compassion. Self-compassion is treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer to a friend who is struggling. It's about recognizing your imperfections and accepting yourself as you are. Practicing self-kindness. Treat yourself with gentleness and understanding during difficult times. Avoid self-criticism and harsh judgments. Offer yourself words of encouragement and support. Recognizing common humanity. Remember that everyone experiences challenges and setbacks. Acknowledge that you are not alone in your struggles. Cultivate a sense of connection with others. Practicing mindfulness. Observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment. Acknowledge your pain without getting swept away by it. Create space for self-reflection and healing. Building resilience is an ongoing process. By developing effective coping mechanisms, cultivating a supportive network, and practicing self-compassion, you can strengthen your inner resources and navigate life's challenges with greater ease and confidence. Chapter 7. Action over anxiety, taking courageous steps. We've explored the inner work of understanding and managing fear. Now, it's time to translate that understanding into action. This chapter focuses on taking courageous steps, overcoming the paralysis of anxiety, and building momentum towards your goals. It's about shifting from a state of fear to a state of empowered action. Breaking down overwhelming fears into manageable actions. One of the biggest obstacles to overcoming fear is feeling overwhelmed. The key is to break down large, daunting fears into smaller, more manageable steps. The micro-action approach. Identify the smallest possible action you can take towards your goal. Focus on completing that one small step, rather than the entire task. Celebrate each small victory, no matter how insignificant it may seem. The chunking technique. Divide your goal into smaller, more manageable chunks. Create a step-by-step plan for each chunk. Focus on completing one chunk at a time. The 5-minute rule. If you're feeling overwhelmed, commit to working on your task for just 5 minutes. Often, once you get started, you'll find it easier to continue. Setting realistic goals and celebrating small victories. Setting achievable goals and celebrating your progress is crucial for building confidence and momentum. SMART goals. Set goals that are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Break down large goals into smaller, more manageable ones. Focus on progress, not perfection. Acknowledge and celebrate your progress, no matter how small. Avoid comparing yourself to others. Learn from your mistakes and use them as opportunities for growth. Reward yourself. Celebrate your accomplishments with meaningful rewards. Recognize your efforts and acknowledge your courage. The power of doing it scared. True courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the willingness to take action despite fear. Embrace discomfort. Recognize that discomfort is a natural part of growth. Step outside your comfort zone and challenge yourself. View fear as a signal that you're pushing your boundaries. The feel the fear and do it anyway approach. Acknowledge your fear, but don't let it stop you. Take action, even when you're feeling afraid. Build confidence through repeated exposure. Cultivate a growth mindset. Believe in your ability to learn and grow. View challenges as opportunities for development. Embrace the process of learning and improvement. Taking action in the face of fear is a powerful way to build confidence and resilience. By breaking down overwhelming fears, setting realistic goals, and embracing the discomfort of doing it scared, You can transform anxiety into a catalyst for growth and achievement. Chapter 8. Finding your purpose, aligning your fears with your values. We've explored how to manage and transform fear. Now, we'll delve into how fear can actually guide us toward a more meaningful and purposeful life. This chapter focuses on aligning your fears with your values, using fear as a compass to guide your direction, and creating a life of purpose. Using fear as a compass to guide your life's direction. Fear can be a powerful indicator of what matters most to us. By paying attention to what we fear, we can gain insights into our deepest values and aspirations. Identifying fear-driven avoidance. Notice what activities or situations you consistently avoid. Ask yourself, what am I afraid of losing or experiencing in this situation? The answers can reveal your core values and priorities. Exploring the what-if scenarios. When faced with a decision, consider the what-if scenarios that evoke fear. Ask yourself, what am I most afraid of happening? The answers can highlight your values and what you truly care about. Recognizing fear of regret. Reflect on the things you might regret not doing in the future. Ask yourself, what am I afraid of missing out on? The answers can reveal your passions and life goals. Identifying your passions and aligning them with your fears. Often, our greatest passions are intertwined with our greatest fears. By aligning them, we can create a life that is both meaningful and fulfilling. Connecting fear to passion. Identify your passions and the fears associated with pursuing them. Recognize that fear can be a sign that you're on the right track. Embrace the fear as a motivator to pursue your passions. Using fear to refine your purpose. Consider how your fears can help you refine your purpose. Ask yourself, how can I use my fears to create a positive impact? Align your purpose with your values and aspirations. Creating a vision aligned with values. Develop a clear vision of your ideal life, aligned with your values. Use your fears to identify potential obstacles and develop strategies to overcome them. Create a plan of action to bring your vision to life. Creating a life of meaning and purpose. By aligning your fears with your values, you can create a life that is both meaningful and fulfilling. Living with intention. Make conscious choices that align with your values and purpose. Prioritize activities that bring you joy and fulfillment. Live with intention and purpose. Contributing to something greater. Find ways to contribute to something greater than yourself. Use your talents and passions to make a positive impact on the world. Create a legacy that reflects your values. Embracing the journey. Recognize that finding your purpose is an ongoing journey. Embrace the challenges and setbacks along the way. Continue to learn and grow as you pursue your purpose. By using fear as a compass, aligning your passions with your values, and living with intention, you can create a life of meaning and purpose that is both fulfilling and impactful. Chapter 9. The Strength of Vulnerability, Embracing Imperfection. Throughout our journey, we've learned to understand, manage, and leverage fear. Now, we'll explore a crucial aspect of personal growth, vulnerability. This chapter focuses on the strength found in embracing imperfection, fostering authentic connection, and building deeper relationships through openness. The power of authentic connection. Vulnerability is the gateway to authentic connection. By allowing ourselves to be seen as we truly are, we create space for meaningful relationships and genuine intimacy. Breaking down walls. Recognize that vulnerability is not weakness, but strength. Challenge the societal pressure to always appear strong and perfect. Allow yourself to be seen and heard, even when it feels uncomfortable. Sharing your authentic self. Be honest about your thoughts, feelings, and experiences. Express your needs and desires openly and respectfully. Embrace your imperfections and celebrate your unique qualities. Cultivating empathy and compassion. Listen to others with empathy and understanding. Offer support and compassion to those who are vulnerable. Create a safe space for others to share their authentic selves. Letting go of perfectionism and embracing vulnerability. Perfectionism is a barrier to vulnerability. By letting go of the need to be perfect, we can embrace our imperfections and cultivate self-acceptance. Challenging perfectionistic thinking. Recognize that perfection is an unattainable ideal. Challenge the belief that your worth is tied to your achievements. Embrace the beauty of imperfection and the power of good enough. Practicing self-acceptance. Accept your flaws and limitations without judgment. Treat yourself with kindness and compassion. Celebrate your strengths and acknowledge your growth. Embracing failure as a learning opportunity. View failure as a natural part of the learning process. Learn from your mistakes and use them as opportunities for growth. Develop a growth mindset and believe in your ability to improve. Building deeper relationships through openness. Vulnerability is the foundation of strong and lasting relationships. By being open and honest, we can build trust, intimacy, and connection. Sharing your fears and insecurities. Be willing to share your fears and insecurities with trusted individuals. Create a space for open and honest communication. Build trust through vulnerability. Expressing your needs and boundaries. Communicate your needs and boundaries clearly and respectfully. Assert yourself without being aggressive. Create healthy boundaries that protect your well-being. Practicing active listening. Listen attentively to others without interrupting or judging. Show genuine interest in what others have to say. Create a safe space for open and honest communication. Embracing vulnerability is a courageous act that can transform your relationships and your life. By letting go of perfectionism and embracing your imperfections, you can cultivate authentic connection, build deeper relationships, and live a more fulfilling life. Chapter 10. Fearless Forward, Living a Life of Courage and Growth. We've explored the journey from fear to fuel, learning to understand, manage, and transform anxiety into a source of strength. Now, we arrive at the final chapter, focusing on sustaining momentum, preventing relapse, and embracing lifelong learning and personal development. This chapter is about living a life of courage and inspiring others to do the same. Maintaining momentum and preventing relapse. Overcoming fear is not a one-time event, it's an ongoing process. Maintaining momentum and preventing relapse requires consistent effort and self-awareness. Regular self-reflection. Continue to monitor your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Identify any early signs of relapse and take corrective action. Regularly review your progress and celebrate your achievements. Consistent practice of tools and techniques. Continue to practice mindfulness, reframing, and other coping mechanisms. Regularly engage in activities that promote resilience and well-being. Reinforce healthy habits and routines. Building a support system. Maintain strong relationships with supportive individuals. Seek professional help when needed. Engage in communities or groups that reinforce your growth. Embracing lifelong learning and personal development. Courage and growth are intertwined. Embracing lifelong learning and personal development is essential for living a fearless life. Cultivating curiosity. Maintain a sense of curiosity and a desire to learn. Seek out new experiences and perspectives. Embrace challenges as opportunities for growth. Developing new skills. Continuously develop new skills and knowledge. Invest in your personal and professional development. Step outside your comfort zone and challenge yourself. Adopting a growth mindset. Believe in your ability to learn and grow. Embrace challenges as opportunities for development. View setbacks as learning experiences. Inspiring others to overcome their fears. As you transform your own fears, you can inspire others to do the same. Leading by example. Share your story and your journey of transformation. Demonstrate courage and resilience in your own life. Inspire others through your actions. Offering support and encouragement. Offer support and encouragement to those who are struggling with fear. Share your knowledge and experience. Create a safe space for others to share their fears. Creating a culture of courage. Promote a culture of courage and resilience in your communities. Encourage open and honest conversations about fear. Celebrate the courage of others. Living a fearless life is not about eliminating fear, it's about transforming it into a source of strength and inspiration. By maintaining momentum, embracing lifelong learning, and inspiring others, you can create a life of courage, growth, and fulfillment.